So thank you so much, Sarita. Thank you so much, Natasha, for being here for chapter number 4. I'm shivering and am excited of having you. It's such a fantastic gift that you're meeting and supporting. Yes. So let's start with having your introductions. If you can tell us where you are in the world and who you are, and just a very short reflection on the happening of the book a little bit. Yeah.
So who's starting?
You start.
Okay. Hello, my name is Ma Ananda Sarita, and I'm a Tantra teacher. I've been on the path of Tantra and meditation since 1973. I was initiated into Osho Sannyas at that time, and Osho gave me this name, Ma Ananda Sarita. And I stayed in Osho's community for 26 years, and subsequently I went into the world. I've been teaching Tantra since 1990. And I'm also an author of 2 books on Tantra, and I've designed numerous Tantra courses that run worldwide, and as well as online courses. And so I came across Matilda in the group Tantra Mystic Massage. It's actually a massage training that lasts for a month. And so we got to know each other, we love each other. And she told me about her project of writing this book, and I was full of encouragement because I think it's just fantastic. I think the world needs it from many different perspectives. One perspective is it's very valuable for people to know that a woman of 50 years of age is enjoying a very fulfilling, deep, rich sexual life, because there's some, we have a kind of undercurrent or a belief in the mainstream that when a woman is coming into menopause, that then it's all over in terms of her sexuality. When actually Masters and Johnson, through their studies in the laboratory, had proved that a woman can be multi-orgasmic into her 90s. So Matilda is giving very important inspiration for women everywhere.
Yes.
And I know from my own experience that having wonderful tantric sexuality after menopause is the best possible recipe for a very juicy, fulfilled, overflowing with bliss life. So I'm full of praise and encouragement for your courage in just exploring this subject and bringing so much inspiration for women and also for men, of course.
Thank you for those wise words, and also from your perspective, which is like very profound and probably worldwide master profoundness in this field. So it means a lot, and it just makes me smiling and be so happy that we are many feeling and many wanting and many lifting, and it's a huge web of us. It's beautiful to feel.
Yeah, very good.
Yes, thank you. Natasha.
Hi. First off, I am humbled and grateful to be a part of your journey in any way. My name is Natasha Elizabeth Fisher. I live in Iceland. I got to meet this beautiful woman through a mutual friend of ours, and yeah, probably in the beginning, or not the beginning, but the reawakening of my own journey regarding sensuality and femininity, and just getting to know my body again. I come from a completely different background. I am an educated waiter and took my master's in that. So I'm a teacher. and have been guiding service for, wow, okay, almost 18 years. And service is in my blood, and serving myself was not really a part of that. So I met this beautiful woman on that journey when I started to introduce myself to myself again, and seeing how that works. And we've done some beautiful things together. Created the first mini tantric festival in Iceland, which was to all accounts a success. Very difficult with that short amount of time, but completely worth it. I did my 2 first workshops there, one of them being experiencing the body through senses, where, well, through sense and touch as well, where I introduce people or invite people to have pieces of very specifically selected foods, and guided them through, like, does it touch your lips first, or do you touch it with your fingers? Do you smell? What do you smell? How does it feel? And I had all sorts of fabrics, very different fabrics, where people were invited to feel that. So I can't expect them to be naked quite yet, but it was an offer where everyone either took a feather or pleather or whatever it was that they chose at that time, and was just closing their eyes and just trying to feel, like, where does it touch on your arm? Where does it sense? And it was a beautiful thing walking and looking through that room and just seeing people going through that motion and not being afraid of it. There's something about closing your eyes where you kind of leave the room and it's creating your own little private world, and that's what was needed. And then they exchanged to have a partner, and you got 30 minutes each to experience this with, to be fed, to have that 30 minutes to yourself. And that was what stood out. People said that they were thankful for knowing that those 30 minutes were completely theirs without sharing, because a lot of the hindrance that come up in people's, like, if I receive pleasure and now I have to give, or is there pressure, are they waiting for me? So it was a beautiful journey of realizing how attached people are to that, okay, now I have to do, instead of just enjoying and respecting the other person in that manner of saying, he or she will let me know if they want something in return or when that will happen. So that was kind of my first gift into this community, and it went really well, and I hope that I will continue that work.
Great. We will complete sharing in a little bit. Your first reflections of the book, like, yeah, just getting to know that the book is happening. Just a short reflection on that.
For knowing about the book, I've sat with Matilda 1 or 2 times where she's asked questions and kind of went through, like, oh, this is a flow of my heart, but if you would have this question, or knowing about that someone was having sex every day, what does that bring up in you? And it stirred my mind in so many ways. I was like, okay. I think the first question I asked is, like, okay, I know this is healthy to keep this flowing in your body, but are you always ready? Is that always something that your body is wanting at that point in time? And well, your answer was yes.
Yeah.
Because even though we have troubles and whatnot, as you explained, if I remember correctly, and you just tell me if I'm saying something wrong, but even though we're in a difficult place, or something is happening in our life, or there's quarrels with our partner, being able to meet it in that space is kind of like having a conversation. It's going past those differences and just meeting at a very, very pleasant, quiet place and connecting. And then you can figure shit out, excuse my French, afterwards. And maybe some of the problems just evaporate or flow away.
Yes.
So I think that's a beautiful notion that I kind of picked up of it. Sensuality brings you peace, and that's beautiful.
Oh, great. And I'm going to like interrupt you almost, Natasha, and we're going to stop the recording here because we will share a bit more. So thank you very much for this part, both of you. So we will keep going and share about the 4th chapter, Sensuality and Intimacy. And we already started with exciting questions. So, and there is so many angles we can like start coming into this. So both of you have now read through both the content and the back of the book, and then also the 4th chapter. So where do you want to start your reflection?
I'd like to start by telling a true story, which I think will help the listener to gain a little bit perspective also.
Yes.
This is something I heard from a friend of mine from Japan. In Japan, they have a very clear belief system that after the age of 25, a woman is too old as a suitable marriage partner. And then after menopause, that the woman stops having sex. And then in general, if she's married, then the man will get a younger partner as a consort while keeping the wife at home, but never making love to her again. So this is the belief system. So what happens in reality? Now, of course, with this C virus situation, I don't know, but at that time, plane loads of over menopausal women would go to Thailand to do shopping. So when they were on their shopping trip, they would actually go and see male prostitutes in Thailand in order to have sex. Because basically the woman's sexuality remains very flowing, very alive, very juicy after menopause. And so even though the cultural belief is like that, the women knew that they still have needs, and so they were going to take care of those needs. So I just wanted to put that out there so that we have a framework to discuss about not only sexuality in our young age, but also sexuality as we get older as well, because I think that's a very important point. And that sexuality at any age also can be a door into deepest fulfillment, not only sexually, but also through the heart and spiritually as well. Because our genital organs are linked directly to the glandular system in the brain through our nervous system, and the glandular system in the brain is linked to superconscious states. And for a woman, it's very easy to go through the door of our sexuality into superconscious states. So this is the little framework I wanted to launch, and then let's see what happens.
Yes, fantastic. And I want to reflect on to me, the whole point of the book is over the years when I have shared our rhythm of daily kind of practice going into this beautiful merge, people have said, why don't you share? You should share. And I have not understood how. So this is, my way of, trying to find a way. So this, I'm interested also how it is for you to read both like points of thoughts and then also like bodily experience in the middle of everything. It's been such a pleasure to write it, but that's also a question for you to reflect on. And both, I want to say two things, Sarita. That is that your book, which is all the colorful all through with all the poetry, and it's the most beautiful book I know. And I'm gonna, yes, and that's just it's just so beautiful, the whole take on what sexuality is, for me. It really comes out in that book.
Mm.
And experiencing the whole month of tantric touch in both ways. I can share more about that, but that's been one part that has opened my body up. Yeah, at the age of 50. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Mm.
Well, it's probably colored by my recent experience, but what I really took from that chapter, and probably what's going to be a red thread for me through that book, is your search and willingness to integrate all of you and be more of you. And I remember the sentence of recognizing your triggers.
Yeah.
Because I think none of us will ever be able to get rid of all of our triggers, but I think, get better taking them in and working with them as we get not older necessarily, but with the work that we do with ourselves. Some manage to do it earlier, some are going into their 50s, and it doesn't really matter, it's our own journey. But that sexuality is one part of us, and then there's everything else. And it rang so true to my heart, because that's been my journey. I did something very, very one-sided for a very, very long time. And now I'm in my heart and my body and mind trying to reconcile that there are more parts of me, and figuring out the dance between them all, how I can integrate them without falling into the trap again of just now taking sensuality, or just now taking this, or whatever it is, just integrating all of it and being fully me. And I think it's a courageous step, and especially not just taking the step and working on it, but actually writing it down and saying people, hey, this is what I do in my daily life. I mean, it's amazing. I had a tough time hanging up these pictures behind me, and that's just 2 photos. And the photos are, I don't know if you see them completely, but they are of my body. And it was a piece that was done on sensuality and intimacy, portrayed without going to porn. And that was kind of the photographer's point, that you can see a naked body and it doesn't have to go to that murky dark side, but it's actually just beautiful. And for years I was in a partnership for 10 years with a woman, and she wouldn't allow me, in a sense, to hang up the photos because she thought it was crude. And that just shows a very, very, very specific distance between people of how they think about this. And yeah.
Thank you for showing the body as art, really. And I'm connecting also to what opened up so much about the month of training massage every day with you, Sarita, is how the body becomes more and more sensitized and more awaken, and how I had no idea that was possible. And that's so what I want people to know. It's possible to sensitize yourself, and it's such a bliss to live in that.
And I can just add to that the body is basically a musical instrument. So, when we think of doing a concert, for example, someone may spend an hour or more tuning the instrument before the concert. And in India, they have a very unique concept that they tune their instruments while the audience is already sitting there, because the instruments are so delicate, they have to be so finely tuned. So audience is already there, and they're tuning their instruments maybe for 1 hour, maybe even longer, before they will begin playing the raga. And I always think that this whole phenomena of Indian music is very similar to lovemaking. Because first you have to tune the instrument, you get the instruments sensitized and then coming together in fusion. And from that point, you are playing the raga, and the raga is so magnificent, and it goes into different waves, peaks and valleys. And this is also mimicking lovemaking, because we can literally go on for hours if we can ride the waves of yang and yin. So approaching the sex act as an art form, just like we would approach playing music or painting or dancing, I think this is the true way to approach our sensuality and our sexuality. And yeah, so I really admire, Matilda, your vulnerability and your sincerity and your purity, the way that you're bringing this subject out. It's just so naked and so pure and so innocent that it's certainly going to touch many people and inspire people to go on the journey and to realize that there's no boogeyman here. Like, all we're doing is learning how to play the music of life through these beautiful instruments that are given by God.
I get tears in my eyes when I hear you speak, because that you see that in me, it really touches me, because that's what it's all about. On the cover, for example, if I could have chosen completely, it would have been me and my partner on the cover. But he's not there, so we're not doing that. So it's not makeup, you know, it's not a fancy doing your hair thing, it's not sex, black leather, something. No, it is the art of life, which is about consciousness to me, which is the tantric approach that I learned. The consciousness, and there the beauty starts, and I get very touched when I feel that you feel that through the words, and that's like the greatest gift, really.
Yeah, I connected to what Ananda was saying in tuning the body, yes, or this beautiful instrument, and especially if you're with a partner. And what popped into my mind, which I find probably equally as important and probably a part of the attunement, is communicating. So many, and I'm one of them, I'm still learning, have a hard time asking for what they want, or asking the other person, is this okay, or would you like it a different way, or whatever it is, just that little sense of communicating. And I just realized that I didn't ask you that question, Matilda, that I kind of am curious about, how that talk goes between you and your partner, because even though you're blissed out 24/7, I don't know your partner well enough to know if he's in that state as well, and how that communication goes along between the two of you. And I think the readers would also be curious.
Yeah, tell me what the question is.
So how does communication go between the two of you when it comes to sex, or any intimacy in that regard, bedroom wise, if we put it into a framework?
All the questions about him needs to go to him, because that's his part. I cannot answer for him. So, but if from me, well, if I answer from sexuality, I think this has also been a development, like a huge development from where we started off. We have 4 children, so we have experienced a lot through these years. So the communication between us, I have learned a lot of that. I can show him what feels good for me. I can show him what my requests are. I can ask him for his requests. Yeah, so it's very much been also a developmental, journey. Yeah. Very, very much. That would be my answer. Yeah. And we can
And
get better in it also. I will, it's not complete in any way also, just so you know. Sarita.
Yeah, I'm very curious. How did it come about that you decided between you to have sex every day?
Yes.
Because as far as I know, when we have sex as a spiritual practice, it is ego destroying. Like the ego will be completely annihilated. So I'm very curious what inspired you both to decide to go on this journey.
Yes. You will read it in the book maybe later. It's told, the story in there, but I will tell you. It was my life partner who came with an article from one Icelandic paper with a couple lying in their bed with a blanket up to here, and they were interviewed about that they had sex daily. So he shows me this article and invited me to the project. And we are playing a game in between us, which is really it's really a topic for a whole other book, actually. We call it a yes game. Yeah. So we say yes to each other. It's easy to say, no, that's yours. I'm not doing that. It's so, I notice so much like power games between people, and I'm not interested in that whatsoever. So we are in a yes game together. So when he makes a request to me, it's mine to notice, how does that land, and turn it and deal with me and come to a yes. And it's hugely, I can talk for a long time a bit how fantastic this is for our relationship, that we are wanting to say yes to each other and like opening instead of closing. So when he comes with this article, I thought, whoa, that's different, and I thought, yes, of course, we're in the yes, so let's try it. Yes. And what the main pieces that I'm also describing in other chapters are, I always had this complaint. I never get enough touch. He doesn't hug me enough. Poor me. I never, he's not giving me what I need. Yeah. This complaint, when we merge, every 24 hours, in this beautiful way, it completely disappeared. My complaint. That was one very large thing that it gave me. I'm like walking around fulfilled in a way now. That's amazing. Another part is that we both have committed to this project. It's not only me, it's not only him, it's both of us that want to meet this beautifully. So we are very dynamic, very angry, irritated, regular beings. Yeah. So when we're, angry or irritated in each other, we just complete it very fast, because both of us wants to go there. So the amount of time we spend in conflict decreases a lot, because we have to like drop the conflict thing to be able to lay down. We don't lay down in a bed, being irritated. It needs to kind of go away before. Yeah. So that's very concrete things.
Amazing. Very, very inspiring. And I'm wondering do you know the story about Kareza, the Kareza method? Have you heard about it?
No.
So there was a woman doctor, gynecologist, who was very active during the 1940s and 50s. I believe she was from Sweden, but somewhere in Scandinavia. So she was doing research about sex as a healing tool. And she found out if a man and woman are plugged in, meaning in sexual union, for 40 minutes without any movement, just staying plugged in together, that will create bioelectricity in the body, which is super healing. And she found that people who had illnesses, or whether that be physical, mental, emotional, these would vanish by practicing that method. 40 minutes of plugging in every day or very regularly. And that was it. So she propagated that all around the world.
Wow.
And
Fantastic.
then later on, Barry Long continued with that. And now we have Diana Richards in the world, who is also teaching this similar method they call it slow sex. And I was doing research and I found out actually it's a method from the Taoist Tantra tradition from very ancient times, and doctors used to prescribe that or other kinds of sexual positions for healing. So I'm imagining just the fact that you are engaging in sexual union every day is healing on so many levels. And just one of the greatest healings is, as you're describing, that the desire to fight and to create problems starts withering away, because the addiction to egoic tendencies will just melt away. So I think this is a fantastic discovery, and it's really beautiful to offer that to people as a true inspiration, not only for fulfillment, but also to melt down the ego and to achieve healing and wholeness.
Wow.
Oh.
Does it say anything about being a person that's been with both men and women, of that? Because I do sincerely agree that intimacy is healing in so many ways, but does it describe that plug in, as you mentioned, word by word, for male on male, or, well, it's easier for them, but female and female?
So that I don't know, because that didn't come up in the research. Because what we're talking about here is there is acupressure points on the lingam that match acupressure points in the yoni. So when they connect, then it switches on the bioelectricity in the body. And I know in the tantric tradition, we're working with waves of yin and yang. So the fact is that existence always operates through the flow of yin and yang. And I think when you have a same gender pairing, the same yin and yang principles will still be there. Maybe if you're two women together, one will take on a more masculine role, one will take on a more feminine role. Of course, maybe it switches and changes. And I know in the masculine gay community, that usually a man will choose either to be a top or a bottom, meaning either he's the receiver or the giver, which is also a yin and yang situation. So I think you can simply play with that and
well, popped into my mind.
discover.
Patterns are for a reason. If you say the acupressure points are for women, then they can just exchange in that way.
Yes.
That connection.
So I know, for example, about Tachyan healing, and one thing that could be very special for a same gender pairing is to use the tachyanized dildo. And of course, for the woman, you would put it inside the yoni, for the man inside the anus. And that will achieve this release of very strongly healing energy throughout the whole body, the whole nervous system. So I think that could be an amazing addition to any same gender pairing where you want to feel the effects of being penetrated, or whether that's in the anus or the yoni. Tachyanized pleasure products. So that's available from tantrahealingenergy.com, but it's also available through my website.
Yeah,
anyway,
we will add that. Yes.
Yeah.
We look at Tantra Essence later.
Maybe getting back to the book in a sense. Well, all of this relates to it anyway. But you talked about sensuality in so many aspects, and how that kind of feels in your body. It's like, and the questions you put on the last page jumping to the last page, but I find it interesting in the sense of how it can be. So the questions, if you just think of any regular person that has not connected in this way but is interested and will read your book and get these questions, how would you make those questions, or how would you believe that they could answer these questions without getting an introduction to it? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So,
all questions
so the book is essentially, of course, an introduction to all of this. It's more of me thinking, it's like, okay, if I'm teaching myself to feel and sensitize my body, if I don't know or am not being introduced to it in my general surroundings, how would I best, well, I can of course Google it or look it up, so I'm answering my own questions, but it's more if they read the answers or read the questions and try it and answer them themselves, it's like, okay, what does sensuality mean to me? And then it's a deep dive, of course. But sensitizing the body, do you have any tips that worked for you?
Yeah,
I think more be the question.
Yes, great. I'm going to answer that. Your sound just changed a little bit. I don't know if you did something, so it became like a little bit more boxy, the sound, so you know. I don't know if you switched headphones or if you use earplugs or anything.
I changed nothing.
Okay, we will just use.
Yeah, so your sound, it sounds like you're in a box, inside of a box.
Yeah, it changed a little bit. While you do some magic or try something, or otherwise we will just keep going anyway, because it will be fine. But you can turn on and off the sound maybe, or try a little like that, Natasha, if you like.
I think I'll just get headphones while you answer the questions.
Okay,
good. Yeah. So do I have tips? Yeah, someone actually asked in another recording, can you give us some exercises? So there will be 3 exercises in the end of the book. But it's a whole ocean. You know, I would like everyone to go to Sarita for a month in Bali to massage, to receive massage for 2 hours each day and give massage 2 hours each day. There's so many things. That's why, and everyone is also in a different place. So that's why I want to kind of share also all my sitting with people in talk sessions, you know, in coaching sessions, has also been a way to that my body has opened up. So it's very different where everyone is. So it's not possible to say one thing, but I think it's like a huge discovery of starting to just question, how much am I sensing, you know, being aware of oneself is a great start. Practicing, just like enjoying, not even touching, but sensitize, you know, just listening to the body while coming close to another body part. You know, all the steps are fantastic. That's my answer right now. You want to answer also, Sarita?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about senses is, I always say there's 10 senses, because we have our 2 eyes. So this is the visual sense, but we also have the 3rd eye. So this is like the suprasensory aspect of vision. We have 2 ears, but we also have a 3rd ear. We have a nose, of course, with 2 nostrils, but we also have the possibility of the expanded state of smelling and scent. And the same goes for touch and feeling or tasting. So with every sense, we also have an expanded capacity of that sense. And in fact, every sense is a portal into superconscious states, if we but knew it. So I remember, Natasha, you were describing a very beautiful ritual where somebody is blindfolded and being fed. And this is actually a method from the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. There's a very beautiful sutra that goes with that. While eating or drinking, become the taste of the food and the drink and be filled. So that's a complete meditation experience. And each of the methods in the Vijnana Tantra lead us into expanded states of consciousness. So whether we're going through conscious eating, conscious looking and being looked at, conscious touch, conscious smell, or conscious hearing, these are all portals into expanded consciousness. And if we approach our senses in a meditative way, and we explore it through ritual, through meditation, we are bound to just go into deeper states of pleasure and joy through our senses, more than we could ever dream. Because, for example, in today's world, a lot of people are desensitized because there's too much coming towards us, too much. Through advertisement, through bombarded by all kind of sounds, or in terms of feeling, we have all these waves of microwave energies and electromagnetic fields, etc. So we get desensitized. Then we need to create sacred space where we can go into that and explore those senses very consciously and wake up our innate, delicate sensitivity, that capacity. And so for every sense, there are extremely beautiful meditations that people can practice. And personally, I encourage everybody to do that, because it can only lead to a better quality of life. And it's even been found through this system, which is called accelerated learning, that people learn much faster and better when they go into 5 senses education. That means all the senses are used in the educational process. So it's been found that even children who are deemed to be of a lower intelligence, meaning lower IQ, if you put them in a 5 senses learning environment, they excel. Everybody excels. So it's a way of saying that the current education is not complete because it focuses only on 1 or 2 senses. And maybe the child is more oriented towards one of the other senses.
Yeah.
And so we need to really address that, not only for education, but also for our life, and open up our sensorial capabilities.
Exactly. It's almost like a muscle. Like, if I put it into layman's terms for me, and connect to my past works, like I would be testing wine or making cocktails or whatever I did for many years. And with every bottle of wine or glass or a sip or a drop, I mean, I didn't drink very much, but I had to taste them. I did food pairings. And when I started, it was like, oh yeah, then you taste the leather, and then I was like, oh, horseshit. Because I didn't, I was like, I didn't know, but it really does come through. Not in exactly that order that person said, but when you train your senses in a way, there's more and more and more that opens up. And I think that goes for all of our senses.
Absolutely. I want to connect with something that I'm also trying to kind of list in the book is just these things, sensitizing yourself, and the fact also, Sarita, is when I touch with this hand, then there's an experience on this hand, and then I touch with this hand, and there's an experience on this hand, and if I touch my shoulder now, there's an experience on the shoulder at the same time. And if I touch my shoulder on this side, there's like 4 experiences of touch at the same time.
Yeah.
So the whole thing with like pleasuring yourself, sensing yourself is there for everyone. If you start to, there's someone who wants to join.
This is Karma.
Oh,
Hi,
Karma. Hello, Karma.
He's very much into his senses.
Right. I always said if I would reincarnate to anything, I would like to be a cat.
Mm.
I have a cat and I love him very much, and it's just the best life. Seriously. But on the senses thing, the reason why I brought this up is when I did that workshop with Experience Your Senses Through Taste and Touch, there was this one gentleman, because I gave them minutes or 15 minutes before to try everything on themselves, just to prime the body in a sense. And I could sense that I could feel and see that he got frustrated. He was like, he didn't understand why I would, or he had to do this to himself. He doesn't really enjoy it. Nothing really comes out of it, but he enjoys giving it to someone else. And yes, there's like a full-on psychological path I can go down with that one, but I just found it so interesting that he was so off-put in a sense with his own touch that he barely could feel how that felt on his own. And I just found it sad at the same time. I was like, wow, we're so different. But yeah.
And there's so much possibility. That's what I would like that the readers get, really. Oh, I love the cat playing there. It's quick, very quick.
Yeah.
I love what I would love people to kind of sense and get is that this is what life is for. This journey of exploring and like feeling more, enjoy more, doesn't matter where you are in your development, they're always, for me too, for anyone, they're more levels, and that's what's so beautiful. He likes our creation here.
He likes this discussion.
Yes.
I just wanted to mention that I was reading an article that we have receptors in our skin, of course, for touch. And of course, when we're touched, it registers to a very deep place inside, and it's helping our brain function. It helps the feel-good hormones and all of this. But one of the things astonishing in that study is it found out that the body doesn't know the difference if you touch yourself or if somebody else is touching you, which leads us into the subject of self-massage, self-pleasure. And I think people in general don't do enough of that. Maybe they think there's something wrong if I just take the time to give myself pleasure, But actually it's very beneficial, especially if somebody is without a partner, and just to own that, okay, I can love myself. I can hug myself, I can touch myself, I can give myself a massage. And to just keep that nurturing factor alive is very, very important for human life.
I love that. And one of the first questions, one question I also got is, I notice I'm so closed. The person said, I notice I'm closing my sexual energy down. So she understood that. So how can I do to not do that? And my one like answer that I give, or one question, is to start notice when energy comes. To start during the day, notice when energy is there and allow it a little bit. I had no idea I could have energy running in my body at all times. I had all these fantastic, which I'm writing about also. I thought, for example, when I got turned on, I needed to go to a peak and take it away. That was my programming. Oh, now I feel horny or turned on or hot, or I have to do something with it. It needs to go away.
Yeah, exactly. Get it over with.
Yeah, that was that's how it works. That's how it is. And that's what I did. And the experience I had no idea it's possible for both men and women to feel sexual energy bubbling and circulate it and host it and like bathe in it without doing anything about it. It's welcome, but I had no idea. So for me, that was how it started. All of a sudden I walked around with like a fireball between my legs. That's what how I felt. And I thought something is wrong with me. I had no one to talk about this with. And I thought it might not be good, something is wrong here. And that's when I started to research who can I talk to, and I find these steps with Ista and the tantric massage and de-armoring, and I started to educate myself really. Yeah.
Yeah, where our attention goes, energy flows. So if we put attention to some sense or to our sexuality, then
the cat is
sorry, the cat is really going wild.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So wherever we put our awareness, our attention, that aspect of ourselves is going to increase. And I'm sure people who are very miserable, they know that if they focus more and more on misery, that misery keeps growing. Likewise, if we focus more on joy, pleasure, happiness, love, that keeps on growing. And so the fact that you are bringing more focus to the sexuality by having sex every day means that your potential for that will keep on growing and expanding.
But when my journey in this field started, I did not know that it was more that, oh, I cannot feel like this. It was like, oh, now it's trouble. I cannot show this. I cannot feel like this. And I don't know how to, it's like we have to turn it off.
Yeah.
So I think people are not allowing themselves also because there is no muscles in hosting it in a, in circulating it. That's to like practice.
I think this very closely, or unless this was a question to Ananda.
No, and any reflection.
Where was I? I think it closely relates to, well, yes, having muscles or training the muscle of actually containing and enjoying the energy. Relates to, well, we live in a world where, well, first I think it started off by women pleasing the men. And I think in many cultures, women were perceived not really to enjoy it because, well, men are usually or very often quicker than the women. There's a different kind of connection that's needed for the women in many cases. Then it kind of turned into, well, I think it's always been a bit orgasm oriented in so many aspects, and women got left out of the loop for a long time, and then we kind of came in, but it's the means to an end. And yes, then the kind of prolonging of that pleasure got introduced, that yes, we can make love for 2 or 3 or 4 hours, whatever that is, but there's still that means to an end. At some point, one or both should have an orgasm. Like that was the criteria. So learning, it's like going through a bit of an evolution that I think is quite important not to skip. It's like getting to the point of actually living with this energy and knowing that it's the journey, not the destination, is for me like the entrance or the end point where you like realize like, yeah, shit, that's crazy, that's possible. But first, I think you also need to know how to actually reach an orgasm, both on your own and with a partner, because it takes a lot of opening of the heart and trusting, and it's a full-on journey on itself. And then reminding us that, yes, it is about the journey. And even though we don't orgasm with a partner or on our own, it's enjoying that moment or those moments forever long that period lasts every time. So I think it's steps in many ways, and then the end destination in a sense is living with that beautiful energy and knowing you don't have to get rid of it, and it is abundant. And I shared this story with you that I didn't want it to go away, but I felt that I had a scarce amount of this energy. So for instance, if I wanted to have sex, I would be like, okay, I'm going to save it to the evening and then I'll have sex so I don't like waste it. Then yeah, it's a whole debacle of thinking that if I would have an orgasm in the morning or just play with it then I wouldn't have enough residual energy for the evening, which is just mind-boggling to me now that I wasted all those good moments, but now I just have more of them.
Sorry, because actually I have a Skype call, so that interrupted my presence. So
yeah, no
sorry.
problem.
Are we almost coming to completion?
Yes,
or
we can complete now, or we can go for 10 minutes. You can say how it works for you.
Just because I have a scheduled meeting.
Yes, great. So
now.
we will complete then. Any last words, just to like, we could talk forever, we understand, but
yeah, the subject is absolutely fascinating.
Yes.
And it's literally true that we could talk for hours and hours. That's definite. Yes. And I think it could be very interesting, maybe if the people watching the video can also send in questions. So maybe another time we could have a little panel and, you know, do some question and answer, something like that. That could be fun.
Let's do that. We will have a Facebook group which is closed where people can ask questions. So
yeah. I think that's fabulous.
Yes, thank you. Any last words, Natasha?
Yeah, I think the same last words as my beginning is just the awe of striving to be a fuller you. And that's inspiring, I think, hopefully for everyone to integrate all of what we are in whatever sense that is and not be ashamed of it. It's scary, but worth the ride, I think. Yeah.
Beautiful last words. Thank you very much for your
very
time,
beautiful.
your heart and everything.